You've been watching Time Warner Cable News. I'm Wendy Williams, and this is the local edition. Are you a parent out there who might have a child who's having difficulty speaking? Are you thinking maybe they could use a little speech therapy? Well, here to tell us more about that is Dr. Elaine Schneider. She's an author and a speech therapist. Welcome to Local Edition.
Thank you.
You know, those parents out there who have children who may not be developing their speech along maybe the average standard there, what would you say to them that they might be considering seeking professional help?
I think it's really important that a parent has that time that they do look for that professional help. I know many times parents think, oh, my child's going to outgrow this, or oh, it's not such a problem. But what happens is it's really important. The earlier you can start, the better.
When you say early, how early are we talking?
Well, I would be looking at children. I work with children that are as young as 1 and 2 and 3 years of age in early intervention.
How do you know if they're saying ball wrong? I mean, how do you really know at 1?
Well, what we're looking at are children that may have a diagnosis in that case, where maybe they have a diagnosis of Down syndrome or something that we know that children with that disability may develop or will develop speech and language problems.
Your child seems to be developing along an average way here, and what would you say when, say, at 5 or 6, what should you be looking for?
Well, you know, it's really, again, talking about this young child. We have children that come in at the age of 2 that come for therapy because what's happening is they're delayed. They're not speaking at all. I have many children that just point, and some children don't even point. They have no ability to interact, like children that may be on the autism spectrum. They're not pointing.
But for most part, I think parents are already in the system figuring out what to do with their children when they already have special needs. If you have a child who has no special needs and he's just not, or she's not developing their speech along with the other kids in the class, is it okay just to send them to that speech class that the school provides?
Well, again, we need to take a look at evaluating the child to see what are their issues. Is it language? Is it the way they're making sounds? Is it the way they're putting the words together? We need to do an evaluation. That always would precede then deciding whether the child needs to have speech or they don't.
Now, the most obvious speech problem would be, I guess, stuttering. You know that most kids don't stutter. So would that be a red flag?
A red flag, definitely. We know that when young little children are starting to talk, you know, it's difficult to get the right word out, and a lot of young children have that stuttering type of pattern of speech. But it's when the child gets older, they've had this stutter for maybe 6 months and nothing is changing. Then the parent has those feelings inside like there's something wrong here, and that's when the parent should really seek help through a speech and language pathologist.
Now, what causes stuttering? I heard it was genetic. Is that right or wrong?
You know, that's one of the reasons that we're looking at genetics as a possibility of a cause. Stuttering has been around for so long that no one really has the one answer of what causes it. Genetics is one. We now have the NIH, the National Institute of Health, has determined by one of their investigators that there may be 3 genes that are mutant, and those may actually cause 9% of the stuttering. We also know that hereditary, besides hereditary, the genetics you talked about, hereditary, if you have a family member, an extended family member that stutters, there's a more prone for you to stutter as well. So if you're
genetically predisposed to this, how do you overcome it? Through therapy?
Yes. Thing is, you have to learn strategies. You must learn strategies. There's really no cure for stuttering at this moment in time, but you learn strategies that you learn to live with it.
Well, finally, what about family dynamics? Do they play any role with the person's speech?
Absolutely. I remember a little girl that came to me with their parents saying that she's stuttering, and one of the things that I determined was that there was such a large family that the child never had a chance to talk. And
the pressure was on when she first got that 30 seconds of time, huh?
That's right. So I gave the family a strategy of letting the child have time during the dinner time when everybody wants to talk, to let that child talk, or to give that child some special time during the day when she knew it was her time alone.
It's her time to talk, no pressure.
No pressure.
Very, very interesting. If somebody needed to get more information, look you up, where would that information be?
They can find me on the web. I'm at www.askdrelaine.com, so it's ASKDRELAINE.
And people should also know that maybe your insurance covers this.
Yes, there is absolutely. Insurances may cover this, and they need to check with their insurance companies.
Okay. All right. Very
definitely.
Good. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You've been listening to Dr. Elaine Schneider on speech therapy. Maybe for your child, maybe not. Look into it. I'm Wendy Williams. This is the Local Edition. Now back to more Time Warner Cable News.